Can you tell me if you could hear me? That would be fantastic. And we will see what is what. There we are, one or two little technical challenges tonight, but we'll keep going and see if we can get it now. There we are, SOUND sound. Let's just ask if people can hear what's going on there. Fantastic stuff. This is our third attempt tonight. A tiny little technical problem, but we shall not be beaten by it. Very important that you get your internet phone in with me, Scottie McCLUE. So do come and join us as soon as you possibly can and let us know if everything is working. Very, very important. There we are. Fantastic. You can hear me now. Excellent, D. And it sounded quite good. Is it nice and clear? That's what I would ask you. There we go. And we'll see. We might even try and see if we can hear any callers tonight. So if anybody's giving us a ring, give us a quick ring now. Yay, we can hear you now. Yes, I do apologize for that, everybody. Tell me if you can hear the calls as well. Hello, you're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie, it's Martin. How are you?
Hello, Martin. How are you doing? Are we nice and clear now?
Stop. Did you have a slight error there at the very, very start?
Did I what?
Did you have a slight error at the very, very start?
No, we couldn't hear anybody. There was no sound.
I know. We all couldn't hear you.
Right. Well, that would be the slight error you were thinking about.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think it was an error. It was just a problem with the sound.
So how's your day been?
The day's been absolutely outstanding. How's your day been?
My day's been great.
You've had a good day.
Yes, you are. So would you give all of this new storms just come in? Storm Bra?
Well, we think that Storm Barra might have knocked out the sound on Scottie McCLUE.
I know. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we'll now see what time we're at. My goodness, we're 18 minutes past 9.
I know.
18 minutes. So let's see. We'll see if we can get everybody on the old TikTok as well.
Yes.
Yes, I think the storm's obviously given us a wee challenge.
Storm Bra, because it's put a lot of power cuts so far in certain places.
Magnus says he had to turn to his hearing aid. Had to turn up his hearing aid. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, we seem to be back in business now. That's great.
Yes. And it's 16 days until Christmas now, and it's getting very, very
Martin, it can't be. Are you serious?
Yes.
I suppose you're right. I mean, what are we at today? The 8th?
See that thing you were saying in your
No, the 7th.
That turkey, about that turkey video you were doing.
Oh yes, the turkey video. Did you like that?
No, I've was it because I have not seen it yet.
Which one?
The one you just uploaded today, the turkey one.
No, that was last week.
Was it? Oh, aye.
That's the one that says, I've just seen a sign in a shop that says turkey for Christmas, £25. That's one cheap holiday I'm away to book.
Nice. Cool.
Magnus says I'll need to do overtime. Yeah, I'll give you another 15 minutes, guys.
Wow. Cool.
So what's happening with you, Martin?
I've been out more Christmas shopping, looking around for other ideas.
But you've got over 200 presents.
I've got 250 now.
And you're still shopping?
Yes. Plus I'm shopping for dinner. Plus I'm shopping for other food as well. I'm busy food shopping as well.
You're food shopping as well? Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm going to take a chance on it. I'm going to go live on the TikTok as well.
Yes.
So we'll go live on TikTok and see if everybody's out there.
Yes. And how's the weather in Glasgow?
Oh, it's absolutely wild tonight, actually, to be honest. We've had terrific wind and rain.
I am on 230, the episode of Take the High Road, 230.
Oh, wow. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. 230 as Mr. Snedden joined the other estate.
1985 I am on now.
Right. Have you got Mr. Snedden in it? The factor from the other estate?
Yes.
Yes. Big Irish chap. Right, so he's in it. Excellent stuff.
Cool.
Yes, and Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Yes, and Blair Stores.
Uh-huh.
And sorry, Watson.
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. And Mr. Murdoch.
Yes.
Yes, and Dougal.
Yes.
Yes, excellent stuff. And has there been has there been any talk of weddings?
Who for? And take the high road or me and Emma?
Take the high road, not you and Emma. I wasn't asking about that.
Sorry. Not at the moment, but I need to keep watching and see what happens.
See what happens. Keep a wee eye on it.
Yes.
Yes, and Bob and Alice.
Yes.
Yes, they're in it as well. Fantastic. Oh, it's great stuff, Martin. I love it. I'm
Yes.
so grateful to Scottish Television for uploading that to the STV player.
Yes, that's good. Plus, I still like the bill. Still, I just love the bill. The bill's great.
Yeah, the bill's very good. Excellent stuff. Now, I'm going to press on, Martin, because we need to make up the time, and it's lovely to hear you.
Okay, love you, Scottie.
Love you lots, and Dinky-Doo.
Dinky-Doo.
Dinky-Doo, my boy. Bye-bye now. There we go. That's Martin. Give us a call, folks. And the call's nice and clear. So there we are. Good evening, Scottie. Dinky-Doo. How are you this fine evening? Jendela. Lovely to have you with us, Jendela. There we go. Who have we got here? You're live at Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Hiya, Scottie. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Glenn? Well, we had a wee bit of problem at the start with the sound.
Yeah, I've turned my phone up and turned it back on again. I thought, is there something wrong
I
with my
thought,
phone?
what's going on here? I was turning everything up.
Turning it up. I played some old videos on YouTube. I thought, something's not. You've got to simplify things sometimes.
You've got to simplify things. I've uploaded some new stuff on YouTube.
Definitely. I'll
Yeah.
have a look at that.
And a couple of calls last night about the diesel engines.
Brilliant. Is it Storm? Correct me if I'm wrong with my pronunciation. Is it Storm Barra? Is it?
Barra, yeah, Storm Barra, as in the island of Barra, but I don't think that's where it got its name.
Is it not?
No, I don't think that's where it's got its name from, but it's the same pronunciation. And we're just going to very heavy rain, a lot of snow in the north of Scotland.
Is this summer's brewing tonight then, Scottie?
Oh, summer's brewing tonight. They say it's not going to be as bad as the one last week, but I don't know. Hey, my doots, as we say in Scotland.
You won't be surprised.
Hi, Scottie. Sounding good, says Stu 7920.
You know when, Scottie, when people say this, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
When they say I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, so they wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, I predict it then. You know,
well, if somebody said, I think we haven't met Glenn, but I think he's probably a nice chap. He said, oh, yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You see?
And things baffle me and things like
that.
Well,
that baffles me, you see.
It baffles me, that.
I don't quite understand. Well, what the young people say now is, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're not confused at all, but it's a saying. I'm confused. And another more stuff that's breaking in, you say, yeah, I wish they'd stop it, because he's looking for closure.
Yeah.
Do you know, that sort of thing.
I'm stumped.
I'm absolutely stumped here.
I'm stumped.
I could do with that. I could do with a dig out.
Yeah.
I'm needing any chance of a hand here.
It's wider than they. I'm wider than they.
Oh, it's bigger. It's bigger than thee.
It beggars belief.
Well, it absolutely beggars belief. I mean, it's too big for me.
Too big. It's too big for his boots.
He's getting a bit big for his boots, isn't he?
They're brilliant.
I think he's bitten off more than he can chew, to be honest.
He's still chewing.
Do you know what I mean?
They're brilliant, though, aren't they?
He takes on too much. That's why he's not been well. He takes on too much.
Brilliant, isn't it?
The problem is he's too hard on himself.
He's long in the tooth.
He's getting very long in the tooth, actually. He won born yesterday, that one.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll not get one over in him.
Brilliant. I'm used to Scottie, there's thousands, isn't there?
You're stacked. You don't get one over in him, I'll tell you that right now. You'll have to go some.
Definitely.
You know,
Sure.
I mean, I don't think you, I'm not saying you can't do it, Glenn, but you'll have to go some.
There's no flies on him.
You'll have to get your skates on.
There's no flies on him.
Oh, there's no flies on him. He wouldn't sell you his hen on a wet day.
Brilliant.
The problem with him, he wouldn't swap you a thick one for a thin.
Definitely not.
He wouldn't swap you a thick penny for a thin one.
No chance.
Because what they're saying is it's the same value. It's a penny,
exactly.
same value. But because it's a bit worn, they're trying to devalue it a bit. Well, he wouldn't swap you a thick for a thin.
Have you come across these 50 pence? What I've got, like Olympic things and then Beatrix Potter and stuff.
I like the Beatrix Potter ones. I haven't seen Olympic. Oh, I have seen Olympic. That's what it is it? Right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there is one, yeah.
Yeah, I've got you now.
There's a war one as well in there.
Is there one of somebody throwing a discus?
I think there is, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Brilliant. They are good on this occasion.
Trouble with him is he needs to grow up.
I have kept a few on him though, Scottie.
What about that one, Glenn?
He's not the air.
He needs to grow. He needs to grow up. Yeah, I mean, he will do okay, but he'll need to pull up his socks.
He's not the sharpest tool in the box.
He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not convinced his lift goes all the way to top story.
Fantastic.
You know, he's all right, but you have to keep an eye on him.
What's wrong with two?
Keep an eye on him.
He's got the eyes. You need eyes in the back of your head.
Oh, you need eyes in the back of your head with that one.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Someone will be coming on at this time thinking, what are these two going on about?
Yeah, he's okay, but I wouldn't lend him any money.
Yeah, definitely not. You'll not get it back.
He's not daft, you know. He's not as daft as he looks, which is a good job.
What is it, Come Day, Go Day? That one as well.
Come day, go day.
Yeah.
He don't know whether he's coming or going, that one. I wouldn't trust him to sit right way round on lav.
They're the best ones. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to your Saturday show then, Scottie.
He don't know if he's in Bombay or Whitley Bay.
Any more, Scottie?
He doesn't know if it's bye-bye or Whitby. He don't know if it's New Year or New York. Wife's as daft as him sin.
He's as daft as a brush.
Oh, daft as a brush with no head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shouldn't be out on his own, you know, to be honest. You know, I mean, I'm asking him all these questions. He never get any of them right. And I mean, he's walking the streets.
Asking for directions.
It's great stuff.
It's brilliant, Scottie, isn't it? It's good to have a good old laugh, Scottie, to be fair, isn't it?
He doesn't know if he's having a breakdown or a haircut. He doesn't know whether he's Arthur or Martha, says Shane. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received, Scottie? Never trust an electrician with no eyebrows.
I wonder why.
Hi from Essex, says Ollie. DINKY-DOO, Ollie. Lovely to have you with us. Welcome.
And that's Scottie, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I'm in Denniston, Glasgow. The wind's ripping right through me. I'll tell you this, though. He's got an heart of gold.
Definitely.
He'd give you his last Rolo.
I was just going to say that one.
Were you?
I was thinking about it, yeah.
Fantastic. I love all that.
Scottie's selling porcupines.
You know? What about, he says he's going to fight us. Him, he couldn't fight sleep.
He couldn't fight skin off a rice pudding.
He couldn't fight his way out a wet paper bag. I love that.
It's brilliant, isn't
That's great stuff, isn't it? All that nonsense. No, but you get that. What about phrases like, do you know this one, Glenn? I think he's, I don't think it were him. I think he's carrying can.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, do you know what carrying can was?
Is he taking responsibility then? Or?
Yeah, days of the miners, you know, Yorkshire, they had to take the dynamite down the mine. And it were a bit unstable in them days, you know, you had to watch temperatures and things. So they put the dynamite in a can and somebody carried the can.
Let's hope it won't be Scottie.
Let cat out bag.
Yeah, let cat out of bag, yeah.
Now, do you know what the cat is? It's actually the cat of 9 tails, which was ropes with knots on them. They used to beat people at sea. So they used to flog seamen that didn't behave.
Oh, yeah.
And they used to go up on deck and they would see that the cat of 9 tails had been taken out of its canvas bag. And they would go, ooh, cat's out bag.
So now the perception of that, it's just somebody just let a secret out, really.
Let a secret out, cat's out bag. We could tell. I mean, I knew what were happening. Cat was out bag.
Yeah, as soon as it's come out.
I thought someone's for it. Hope it's not me.
Can't keep his trap shut for 2 minutes.
Yeah, he can't keep his trap shut though. Couldn't hold his water.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll keep that secret? Do you think he'll tell anybody? The him couldn't hold his water.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. You're telling me. Oh, you're telling me. I'm telling you.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I'm telling you. You're telling me, but I'm telling you, right?
Nice one, Scottie.
The trouble with you is you think you know it all. Now, don't you talk too much, okay?
Might get lecture.
Let other people get words in.
Can't get a word in edgeways.
What about that? Can't get a word in sideways with him. You can't. I mean, he wouldn't let us talk. And I was trying to tell him, like, but he's not listening, is he? What do you do with people like that? What's world coming to?
What's world coming to?
Do you know what I'm saying? Honestly, the young people today, a guy says to me, the young people today, and he starts laying off. I said, I don't think you know any young people. So the young people today are brilliant.
Yeah, let him off like a rocket.
Yeah, he went off like a rocket. He did his nut.
He did his nut in.
Yeah.
You're doing my head in.
Yeah, he went absolutely off his nut.
He went bonkers.
Yeah.
Start raving bonkers.
Yeah, I was trying to tell him something, but I think you were off his face. I was watching him going home on Saturday night about 11 o'clock, taking all road to Send.
Oh my God.
He was taking all road to Send.
That's slowly brilliant, Scottie.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't that lovely? Glenn, I'm going to dash off. Take great care of your dear self.
Don't think we're going mad. We already have.
We have. Hey, we're already there.
If you can't go mad, another laugh.
Listen, the whole world's gone queer except thee and me, and I'm not so sure about thee.
Scottie, nobody's normal, are they?
No, well, I don't know. You see, what is normal?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit like nice. People say, what's he like? You say, well, he's all right. He's quite nice, actually.
You wouldn't Adam and Eve it.
Yeah, you wouldn't Adam and Eve it, would you?
Yeah.
Well, get up the apples and get shifted.
The old Cockney rhyming slang and all that.
Yeah, they try a bit of that. We've got it in Glasgow. Your china is your china mates, your plates.
Oh, yeah.
No, your plates are your plates of meat, your feet. Get your plates off that chair.
Yeah, pull Pie's eyes.
You know, put on your koala.
What's that, Scottie?
That's your Kuala Lumpur, your jumper.
Oh, yeah. So brilliant.
Kuala Lumpur.
Nice one, Scottie.
I'm off to my Margaret. Margaret Thatcher, Scratcher.
Oh, you're Margaret Thatcher, oh, yeah.
I mean, you're Scratcher. I mean, that goes back to the days when people had fleas in beds.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I'm off to my Scratcher.
Brilliant.
They used to hot bed. One would get up and do night shift and the other would come home and sleep in bed.
Are you extending show tonight, Scottie?
Yeah, well, I'll have to, won't I? I mean, it's only fair.
So, yeah.
Do you know? I mean, the amount of money I'm not being paid. I think the least I could do is extend show for the.
All right, Scott.
Love you lots. I'm only teasing. I would never ask for a penny, love. You take care.
Dinky-Doo, Scott.
Dinky-Doo, Lala. Top man, that's our Glenn. How fantastic. What a night it's been tonight. You're live at Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hi, Scottie. It's Kareem.
Oh, Kareem, how lovely to hear you. What a night tonight.
Yes.
We just could not get started. The TikTok was acting up. Well, it wasn't the TikTok. I mean, the devices were acting up. We couldn't get any sound going. I popped up about 3 times. There's probably still a live going on somewhere.
I didn't get any notifications. The very first time he came up, I got a notification, but anything after that, nothing came up.
Well, we popped up. I tried to do it just on the YouTube, Kareem, but it meant no number displayed, you know? So at least, anyway, everything's working fine now, I think.
We're here, yes.
We are here.
Yes, so how are we, Scottie?
There we are. And there's the lovely D. Gourley, Davy G. We're absolutely fabulous, Kareem. The weather's a bit wild, right enough, you know? But a great show last night.
Yes.
And I've uploaded a couple of things about the diesel engines.
I did listen, but I was said I would phone.
No, you were exhausted and you'd had a day of it.
Yes. No, I was at a funeral as well. It was my Auntie Kathy.
Ah.
Sadly passed on. So.
And I think you're quite a close family, Kareem, aren't you?
Well, yes. I don't have a very big family over here, so that was my grand sister. And it was a shame because I hadn't really seen her until before lockdown. And obviously you can't see because of the COVID, you know, it has to be very close family, her close family, like her kids and their grandkids. So
Kareem, you know, my auntie died in her 90s, a year past in October. And I was speaking to her son, who's a dear friend of mine, and I said, when did you last see her? He says, I haven't seen her since March.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean? So his own mum had died in the October. His sister she was the appointed person, if you like, that could go and kind of wave in the window and all that. But it wasn't enough. Your own mother, when did you see her? I haven't seen her since March.
That's horrible.
Gee.
Horrible. But we need to upwards and onwards.
Upwards and onwards, Kareem. Bless you. And bless Auntie. And I always feel when somebody goes, we were so fortunate to have known them.
Scottie, when I was driving back, it was in East Kilbride, and she was there. And I said I wasn't going to cry. And when they started talking about her and my gran, that was it. It just,
too much.
Tears started. Yeah. And it was, and I thought to myself, my gran and her sister at the end fought so hard. And I mean, you wouldn't believe how strong, you talk about independent women and divas, they fought their illnesses and gave it a good kicking right to the end.
Yeah. Good Absolutely. For them.
And it's inspirational to think. Some people think, I've had enough, done, I'm dusted, I'm away. But no, I'm going to fight, and I'm fighting, and they did. You know, and both of them lasted an extra 2 years.
Wow.
When you think back after being diagnosed with something or something going wrong. So they truly, truly did fight.
It's interesting how people just get on with it. The fight for life is very powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
But as I said, that's not the main purpose of tonight's call.
No.
It's upwards and onwards, and to be positive, and it's a celebration. And I think that's the most key important thing to remember is to celebrate and not to forget. I
think that's what is a celebration of life. You know, I mean, I think how lucky I was to have my father and my mother. Do you know what I mean? And although they died fairly young, as I say, Dad was 70, 73, just short of 74, and my mother was 75. And I think we were very lucky to have them, though.
Yes.
You know? And to know them so well. The same with my grandfather. I had 14 years of my grandfather, the one that was born in 1881.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I thought that myself. I had my gran and granda until my early mid-30s.
Yes.
You know, so it's been, you know, not many people could say that.
No.
So that's my younger days, and as I approach now into my middle life, shall we say, you know, I can look back and think that I've had that in the upbringing.
And I'll tell you what I think, Kareem. I think we as a society need to learn so much from this pandemic. We're getting ordered about from morning till night. And I think we need to learn so much from it. And I think we should see if there's a way we can keep our old folks beside us rather than have them in homes.
Yeah.
Because although a lot of homes do wonderful work, there's also an element of a racket going on there. Do you know what I mean? No names, no pack drill, but I mean, all these thousands of pounds going out per week to look after somebody's parents. You know, oh, it's £1,000 a week to keep mum in the home.
I think that's as you said, not to go into it, but that's the political side, whether it's public or private.
Yeah, the politicians, you see, things like that, I believe, and this sounds a bit socialist coming from me, but, you know, things like that we all actually need, I don't think should be money makers. You see, so the gas, the electricity, transport, the railways, the broadcasting organization, the state one, all that sort of stuff should not be in it to make money from the people. The NHS nowadays is becoming a business.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I mean, how much money will be being made by the big pharma companies out of everybody getting dosed with this, that, and the next thing?
Yeah. Oh, so many people. I've had too many debates about that, Scottie. About, I think I've said before, there was somewhere in America. No, it was in England. Sorry, that when you went and broke your leg and then you got fixed, this hospital gave you a bill what you would have paid. Not obviously you get it for free because it's NHS, but it breaks down everything. And I think everywhere should be doing that to let people see, well, this is what you would be paying, like what they would have in America. Because I think a lot of people actually, you know, they don't respect. I mean, like, the amount of people that go to the doctors just to get a prescription for paracetamol.
Yes.
You know, it's like £8 a box from the doctors to get it prescribed.
And 25 pence in the newsagent.
Exactly. You know, and it's things like that would save money, that would go a long way.
Yeah.
I think my plumber told me, I think he lived in a very mixed area, but he says a lot of the people in the street, we'll just get happy pills off the doctors. We don't really need them, but we'll just have them anyway. You know, that's a cost. That's money.
Absolutely. You know, and I mean, I think we should only be going if we are not well.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, if somebody says, no, he's very unwell, I think we should get the doctor.
Yeah. I touch wood, Scottie. I rarely go to the doctors.
I wonder how much the doctors are looking after people who are heavy drinkers, heavy smokers, drug users. Do you know what I mean? And I wonder how many ordinary, healthy, fit people who aren't doing big on booze, aren't big on fags, aren't big on drugs. I wonder how many of them ever need a doctor.
Yeah.
Because I know people that have died and somebody says, he just looked so well. I don't think he's ever been ill a day in his life.
Yeah.
And I remember a doctor telling me that he'd signed this guy, very fit. I don't know whether the guy worked in the oil rigs or something like that, but he had to get a medical. The doctor checked him out and everything was 100%, everything. So he signed his certificate. He said, good luck, nice to see you, bye-bye. The guy went out and dropped dead in the car park. And I told a GP friend of mine this, went, yeah, I've had that, yeah. You know, so it's just, there's no kind of accounting for it. And you get other people who are quite heavy drinkers and smokers and stuff, and you say, old Jimmy died, he was still having a smoke, you know. What age was it? 91.
Yeah. That was my granddad.
You know,
86.
it's just amazing.
Yeah, it was no 86, and he like, had a packet a day. He was just such a big smoker. I think it would have killed him quicker if he stopped.
Well, this is the problem. Sometimes the shock of actually stopping. I also see people, you know, my age sometimes at gyms. And when I say gyms, I'm going to do something else and it's a leisure centre and you just happen to see them in the window running on treadmills like crazy. And I think this cannot be good for a 68-year-old or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all very well to, you know, exercise till breathless, you know? I mean, the doctor said to me, he says, more fruit and exercise till breathless. So I'm up and down the stairs a couple of times and a chocolate orange.
Oh, I love it. But Scottie, I've got a wee interesting topic.
Yes.
Which I have been quite interested in. We know of the town Linlithgow.
Yes, very much so.
And it has a lot of history about it.
Linlithgow Palace, Mary Queen of Scots.
There's talk about changing the name the Black Bitch.
The Black Bitch pub.
It's racist.
Yes. Now, the Black Bitch is, it's an ancient legend as far as I know.
Yes.
And the Black Bitch was a dog.
Yes.
Yes. That came and, did it rescue somebody?
Its owner, there was various stories to this, but the main one that came up was the owner, I think, was done something wrong and it was stealing, so they put him in the island in the centre of
They put him in the island in prison, and the dog came over, swam across the loch and got food and went back with food and drink for his master.
Yes.
For her master.
Yes.
Yes, the Black Bitch.
I don't know, there's different stories how the dog passed away. I think they left the dog with the owner or they drowned the dog. We'll never know.
Anyway, they've got this wonderful pub with this legend. And I mean, I don't think, unless, I don't know what the owners are wanting to do, but I don't think that should ever be changed. And I also don't think it's the business of any council.
Correct. I think Alex Salmon, I think he was either born there or that's his hometown or something.
Right.
He stepped in and thinks it's absolute nonsense. You can't change history.
No, you can't. You can't go around doing this. Do you know what I mean? It's just not right. You know, I just think that people need to seriously think about it. I heard a very interesting one the other day about slavery. And obviously, everybody's accused of exploiting the African slaves, which they did. But the one, I don't know if I'd told you this one before, the word slave comes from Slavs, like as in Yugoslavia.
Right.
So the original slaves were white people. And slavery is going on to this day. I mean, if you go to Africa now, little ones are being exploited to work in factories.
Yes. Well, you have that in other countries around the world,
China, yeah. Absolutely. And I remember putting a question to some young people when I was doing a lecture. And I said, if a factory were to open across the road here, I said, would you be willing to go after your school, say 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, do 2 hours work at £10 an hour? And every hand went up. Absolutely. You see? And the little boys that do the carpets in Turkey, you know, stitching them and that, they take such a pride in their work. They're heartbroken when the social services rescue them, if you know what I mean.
Right, okay.
Because they love their work. Now, I have a thought. I told you that I was doing a fun job at 12.
Yes.
Because you could do that then. And it was brilliant. And also I learned, Kareem, but I learned manners. I was brought up with manners, but I mean, I learned how to talk to people as a wee one.
Yep.
to have conversations with people, to do what I was told immediately because things depended on it. As soon as I touch that ladder, you get up there with that rope. You didn't go, why me? Why? I might not feel like it. I don't fancy it. I'm no interested. There was none of you, just did not speak back to your seniors. Mind you, in those days, you'd probably have got a clout. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know, Scottie. But you're right about that. There was a petition which I signed against the name change because I just think it's getting...
No, we need to put a stop to this. You see, I think that councillors need to be held to account for everything.
Yes.
So say a councillor says, right, we're not having a Christmas tree this year in case it upsets our Muslim brothers and sisters. You say, okay, can you bring the head of the local Muslim council, and can we ask if he will be offended if we put a Christmas tree in the square? In other words, we're not taking your idea of what offends and what doesn't. And I would almost guarantee if you brought the head of the Muslim council and said, would you mind awfully if we put our Christmas tree up for the Christians? Absolutely not. Thank you so much for asking. You see?
Yeah, a good gesture, and they would appreciate that. They probably enjoy seeing Christmas trees up and people coming together.
Yes,
because that's
of
basically
course.
what religion should be about, regardless of its different religions, Scottie. It's about people coming together and bettering themselves.
Of course, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely, and it is so important. And I mean, remember, the birth of Christ would be to the Jewish people.
Correct, yes.
You see, and I think people forget this.
Do you know, I was thinking about that when I was in the church yesterday, and I was looking at, there was a statue of Mary, and I just thought, this statue looks like someone out of the United States.
Yeah.
I thought it would not look like a Middle Eastern lady from those times where there would be really dark hair, be dark skin.
Yes.
You know, the fingers would be really rough with all the work. You know, no suntan lotion and working in that heat. I just thought it's like, you know, it's like the Western perception of what they would look like, but in reality, it's nothing what they would actually look like.
Absolutely. And I think this is what's so important. You know, what was the story I heard the other day about Hollywood? And it was, Charlton Heston, I think, was he the one that played Moses?
Right,
And they were parting the Red Sea. And he was telling somebody, he says, I've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get all this makeup on. The beard and the sandals and the eyebrows and the whole lot. And Bob Hope, the comedian, passed and said, I've always said it's really tough being Jewish. Do you know what I mean? Now, Bob Hope was just a genius. He was the one that used to go to entertain the troops in Vietnam, and he would say, hey, all these tanks up there, are they ours? And he would say, what a lovely place you've got here. And he would turn to his drive and go, keep the motor running. It was just, I mean, these guys were very, very clever comedians.
You don't get that nowadays, Scottie.
No, because again, you know, it borders on the old, watch what you're saying now. And you think, why should I watch what I'm saying? And you say, because that could be construed as that. And you say, well, wait a minute. How could it be? You know? It's that sort of thing. So it's very, very strange.
Yeah, I think it's fashion, Scottie, because when you look back at things, times change. I mean, you've got people apologising for things that they said about 20 years ago.
But you see, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I agree too.
You see, I got asked the other day. You'll hear it on the podcast.
Yes.
You know, do you regret anything you've said? I said, no, certainly not. because it was absolutely right of its time.
Yeah.
And do you regret the way you spoke to me? No, that was what was funny.
Yeah.
And they spoke to me like that. How many people got the chance to shout at a radio host?
Not many.
Do you know what I
Not
mean?
many.
How many stations can you phone the host and have a real good going argument?
Yeah.
And then
That's
end
the
up
phone
as
shite.
pals? You know, I mean, I used to people ringing me telling me, you want to shut your face. I said, were you brought up to speak to people on the radio like that?
Okay. Well, Scottie, my
And
last
you
quick
see, the
question.
thing is, Kareem, if you don't like it, why are you listening?
Because deep down they do like it, Scottie.
They love it.
is.
It's like us on here. I can now say, because with the internet phoning, I can say to somebody, why don't you just push off? Because there's a whole world out there.
Yes.
But there's something attracts them to what you and I are talking about right now.
Yeah.
I also think that two human beings having a blether is actually interesting.
Yes. Yes.
How often have you been
Good
waiting
call.
on somebody, maybe your wife, to bring you over a drink or something like that, and she sat down, you said, you want to hear this couple beside us here?
Well, like that's yesterday, Scottie. I had you on the background, and just pottering about and listening, and I think it's relaxing. And you get a good giggle when you get some numpty callers are coming on, or when someone comes on it's serious, and you can sit down and think, yeah, I agree with that. No, actually, I don't agree with that. Just things like that.
Here's chap 55, so woolly now, scared to say he for she.
Yeah.
And I can mind you used to tell women who passed their test you were sending your license back to Swansea. They used to come on the radio, they say, Scottie, I passed my driving test today. I say, right, lovey, I'm sending my license back to Swansea. I'm not taking the risk.
But that was the time, Scottie, and and it's what got people talking, and they like listening, and they want, it works, and it still works to this
I
day,
think it's still working, Kareem. I mean, I think we will probably do not news stories, but stuff that people do want to discuss. And perhaps some of that stim should come from me, because we're finding our feet now. But I am very, very pleased with the way that this phone-in's gone over the last few weeks.
It's bringing people together. It's growing. We get people from all around the world listening, and and you imagine someone just sitting out in the middle of nowhere and they're going through, and then they're just listening to you and all these people coming together.
Well, this is it, and I'm sure that when people get a proper sniff of it, I mean, the YouTube channel, I'd say I'm interested in looking at ways how we can get that to people's attention.
Yeah.
Do because the other thing is, of course, you've got to remember that what I'm doing now is coming up 30 years old. And I noticed the chap in the podcast saying even the idea nowadays that people are going to call and chat. And I've always found calling and chatting is miles ahead of texting and typing.
Yeah. I think the texting and typing is obviously, I wouldn't say younger generations. I know a lot of older people do it as well, but I think the two going hand in hand. I think it's good to read out some comments, but also you get the real meat around the bone, if you know what I mean, when you're having a one-to-one conversation.
When you're having a one-to-one, I mean, say I texted you on some network and I said, hi, Kareem, how are you placed Friday night? And then it comes up, Kareem is typing.
Yeah.
And then after about maybe 2 or 3 minutes, a long piece about what was it you were thinking of? I'm actually quite tied up this Friday night. So I tapped back, well, listen, please don't worry about it. I was wanting somebody to do such and such, but I could probably at a push get somebody else. The only thing is that you know what you're doing. And then Scottie is typing. You see, and that takes us hours. It would take seconds to, hello, Kareem. Hi, Kareem, it's me. Listen, can you talk just now? I can, yeah. What was it? I haven't got long. Don't worry. Friday night, are you busy Friday night? Yes, I am. What were you wanting? Right.
Yes.
I was needing to talk to somebody that understands social. Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I could do. Is it your youth group or whatever? I could pop over from say 7:30 till maybe 8:30. Kareem, that would be magic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll see you then. Where is it again? It's at the hall. Okay. See you then. Bye.
That's it.
And that's it sorted. There's no Scottie is typing, Kareem is typing. I wasn't sure what you meant. You seemed angry. All that kind of rubbish.
Yeah. They're overreacting.
Absolutely. You know, a quick blather and it's amazing.
There we go. Oh, no, I totally agree, Scottie, but I think the talking, you're always going to have the talking, but I think it's something, it's not going to die out, but I think it's harder for the younger generation because, you know, think about the kids. Let's shut them up. Here's an iPad. Here's a tablet. Whatever. Go and play with that.
Go on your Game Boy. Go on your Xbox. Go on.
You know, and when they get to teenage years, they're still doing the same. And when they get into their 20s, that you know, it's the PlayStations or whatever.
And we know that young people are struggling a little bit with the phone in because they can't really hold a conversation.
Well, there's been a couple younger folk that have phoned that. That's quite evident, but it's just building that confidence, you know, starting small. It's one of the boys' phones. I can't remember his name. Is it Ewan?
Oh yes, from Barra.
I think that he does sound a little bit shy, and it's not a criticism. If he's listening, it's far from a criticism. Please don't feel offended.
No, I think he's just a young guy, and I think it can be a little bit overwhelming to be live on an internet phone in. Well, there is only, I don't know that there are any other internet phone ins. I know Alex Belfield does his phone in, and that's him kind of, I think, just keeping a tradition going, because you know, his videos are where the people are so interested.
Yes.
And it's interesting that he came immediately to my defense when that halfwit was on the other night, you know. Did you hear about that?
I've watched your videos.
You saw that one, yeah. It was the guy that he said Scottie McCLUE was a great influence on him, and the guy goes, "Oh, don't mention that clown."
I wouldn't bother, but Scottie, you're always going to have the haters in life, and you've just got to laugh at them.
I wonder if haters actually hate themselves, and that's their problem.
I always say it's insecurity. If they have to put it on the other people, you know, like make them feel bad so they can feel good about themselves.
Yes, I think that's right. I think people do you down. Have you never been at something, you meet somebody and you come in and people go, "Oh, here's Kareem," and you go, "Here, what was up with you? Could you not put your tie on or something?" You think, "I beg your pardon," because they don't feel confident enough to shake your hand and go, "Kareem, thank you for coming. It's so lovely to see you." So they say, "Could you not put your tie on?" Because it takes the attention away from them.
Center of attention. It's like a bully as well. When you think of bullies, they need that type of attention. You know, it's. Listen, Scottie, I had another question, but I'm going to keep that for tomorrow.
Keep that up your sleeve.
But yeah, it's a long one, but it was just about double standards with down south, with the Parliament there to up here, regarding like the Christmas parties. But I'll go into that tomorrow a little bit, just about.
I'm getting a little bit concerned that we're getting so obsessed with all the pandemic that we're forgetting about independence and Scotland and the people. And do you know what I mean?
I think, before I go, I think what's going to happen, and I hope it does go this way, I think the Christmas period is going to finish. I think there'll be some. I don't think we'll go back into a lockdown. I think there'll be some restrictions. Some might be a bit heavy, but I don't think we'll go back to the lockdowns that we've had because the economy can't survive. But the build up to May council elections, and I think after that you'll have another full year until they call the independence referendum. But you need to remember, Scottie, you know, they're probably going to have to go to court regarding this because down south will not allow it. I think Nicola's been very clever because when it was COP26, she has met so many world leaders that as a sovereign country to deny a referendum would be quite bad in the world stage. However, how many people has this current UK government annoyed and turned their back?
Oh, stacks. I mean, it's interesting because we call it the UK government, but
Yes.
I do know that the English administration, because of its imperial background,
Yes.
has breathtaking arrogance about their superiority.
Yes.
And I think that was a bit of a shock last week in this diplomatic row with France, when Boris tweeted his letter rather than leave it to the diplomats.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was a shock when people said, listen, you don't call all the shots now. And that's a bit of a shock. And we know as a fact that if Scotland were to leave the United Kingdom, then Westminster would struggle to meet its balance of payments because Scotland is a serious cash cow. But if somebody was my cash cow, I would be treating them with kid gloves.
I think that's the problem, though,
I would be saying, my dear Nicola, how are you? You must come and have lunch with me.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't see that, Scottie, because I think they've been brainwashed as well, a lot of them, that it's England that subsidises Scotland.
Well, they need to come clean about all that. Oh, Nicola, come on, you don't want to be leaving us. Let's see if we can do you a really nice deal. Yeah. We want to say thank you for all the dosh.
Well, Scottie, I would be saying this. Why would we want to stay now part of a Tory United Kingdom? We can see how everything's getting changed now. And people are joking, but are they really joking that it's like a dictatorship turning into in time?
Well, I think the other thing is that we are paying for everything there. Now, you see, there's Cian. Can you back up your statements with sources? Of course.
Yes.
Of course I can. I mean, these are facts. These are not statements. These are statements of fact.
Well, 70 billion we give down and we get about half that back.
You know,
there we go.
Absolutely. Even less, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lovely talking to you, Kareem. Thank you so much.
Scottie, speak to you tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it already.
Sorry?
I'm looking forward to it already.
Thank you. I'm going to take the dogs right now, so I'll see.
They will love DINKY-DOO. Top man. There we are. Great guy, Kareem. So there we are. Looking into the evidence is paramount, of course. Plenty of sources. There we are. Scotland has more than enough money to go independent. Who's in charge of the money? Absolutely. Poorest leadership I've ever seen across all nations. Absolutely, chap. Yes, indeed. Could you please recite the national anthem? Yes, of course we can. So who's off the mark? Absolutely. We're not independent. Not yet. But we could be. Hello, Scottie. Big fan. Big fan to you as well. There we go. Maria Knight has sent me 10 GGs. Maria, thank you so much. You're very, very kind. We could talk about politics all week long, Scottie. User, we could talk about politics forever. But we don't want the show to become all politics. Too many people doing that. This is about people. Can you please compose a tune in the squeeze box on the spot? Gideon, of course I can. Have you gone to Scottie McClue's YouTube channel and put in Scottie McClue the Mermaid? That's one of my compositions. And I play it on the squeeze box. How do you get a computer drunk? Screenshots. Thank you, D. Not all of Scotland should be locked down. I need my caravan holidays. Yes, you need to replace your skylights. And Night Susan trying to get through, but no luck. D, you'll have luck. Get through now, D. Come on. The guy on Alex's show. Yes, Glasgow should be locked down permanently, says Professor Nupteed. He's only saying that because he's from Edinburgh. There we are. He was jealous of you, Scottie. He didn't have a show. He was just a bit shy talking to a big star. My sister's 75. You're live at Scottie's Funny. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie. It's Dee.
Dee, you angel. I'm so glad we got you on.
I know I tried forever. But
I don't feel right and I don't want anybody going away dissatisfied.
I know. Just
I
want to
don't
get a
want
couple
you
of
thinking,
drinks
listen, I supported that old fool when he had nobody phoning him. And then now, because he's big,
in. Not
he
at
doesn't
all.
want to know.
Not at all. You and Kareem have good discussions and you get right in it, and I appreciate that. So,
But
no,
I
not
find him a very interesting guy because he's got such
yeah,
a
of course,
big, open mind.
He's
You know?
got good points and a good head and shoulders. So,
A good Hebrew and a good Scottish
Aye,
tongue in his head.
definitely.
Do you remember that when people would say, well, look, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the directions, but I don't know if you'll remember. You got out to the first roundabout. You say, listen, leave it. I'll find my way. I've got a good Scotch tongue in my head. I'll ask somebody.
Nothing more.
And there was a guy, if you go to Inverary or Inverera, there's the road splits and one goes on to Lochgilpin and Ardrishig and Tarbert and down the Kintyre Peninsula. And the other one goes up to Oban. Yeah. And this American pulled up to this old Highlander and he says, say, Jimmy, he said, can you tell me the road to Oban? He says, to Oban. He says, how did you know my name was Jimmy? He said, I just guessed. He said, well, you guessed the road to Oban then. I guessed. And the other lovely one was an American on the pier at Tobermory. And he was waiting, you see, and this chap came up and he says, can I help you, sir? I said, you've been sitting here a while. I said, yeah, I'm just waiting on the car ferry. He says, well, he says, there's no car ferry this morning now. He said, yeah, I'm booked at 10 o'clock. He said, 10 NA. 10 NA. Yeah, I'm booked 10 NA. He says, 10 a.m. No, 10 NA. He said, look, I've got the ticket. And he hands him the ticket, and the ticket, he was booked on the Iona.
Right.
The 10 NA, IONA. And the car ferry was called the Iona.
Right.
I'm booked on the 10 NA.
You did the accent, Scottie.
And another lovely guy had said to this guy, he said, I'm waiting for the ferry. And he said to him, there's no ferry now, it's Thursday. And he said, what's the day of the week got to do with the ferry? He said, well, you see, on a Thursday, it's the Claymore and she goes for sheep.
Oh, dear. The Americans, you've got to love them.
Imagine saying to an American from New York City, do you not know that the Claymore goes for sheep on a Thursday?
Oh, no. Oh, dear.
They're beautiful, beautiful people.
No, I love the American ones. The American ones
Oh, they're great. The best one ever was a big American guy, all the cameras and binoculars and Thousand Island shirts and a big pair of shots from Rent-A-Tent, and he's standing there and he says to the guy, he says, it was 1 o'clock, coming up 1 o'clock at Edinburgh Castle. And he says, what's everybody waiting for here? He said, oh, I think they're waiting for the sergeant of the guard to come out and fire the gun. What's the gun for? And he says, well, what happens? Now, you'll know this, Dee, but when the 1 o'clock gun fires, over in Carlton Hill, the ball drops so that the ships out on the 4th in the old days were able to set their chronometer.
That's right.
So they would look through the telescope, and as soon as that ball dropped, they would bring their ship's chronometer up to 1 o'clock.
Exactly.
And anyway, this guy says, so the guy made up a story for this poor soul. And he says, what's everybody doing? He says, well, the gun fires right across to Carlton Hill and it cuts through a rope and the ball drops. He says, yeah? He said, yeah, absolutely. He says, so if you have a look, you get your binoculars and you watch. Anyway, out comes the sergeant of the gun, fires the 1 o'clock gun, right? Hang on a wee second. Fires the 1 o'clock gun, and sure enough, the ball drops, and the guy's going, gee, that's some shooting. Isn't that beautiful? I just love all that. And then up on Edinburgh Castle, above the entrance to the drawbridge, it's got on it Nemo me impugn lacessit, which is the old Scottish crown motto. Quod dor meddle wi me. Nobody meddles with me with impunity.
Right.
You see? And that's it. Nemo me impugn lacessit. And the guy says, the guy says, up there, what does that say? And he says, oh, well, you see, Scottish soldiers are very, very tall. He says, and that says, mind your heat when entering the drawbridge.
Oh, brilliant. You could just
they're beautiful, beautiful people, because I think it's their kindness.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? I think they're nice people, and they.
Did you see me love Scots?
Well, of course they do, and the Scots love them. I mean, America's based on Scotland. They wanted Bonnie Prince Charlie to be their king.
Exactly. I know.
Nobody, only people like you and I know that. Everybody goes, away you go.
I know.
See, when I tell people something, I had a top journalist arguing with me. I said, Scotland's monarchy goes back 2,347 years. Rubbish. Now, it does actually, but you trace it back. It wasn't quite Scotland. It's the old Celtic kings. And the first one we can come up with is Ri, royal. And then if you trace their ancestry back, you can go back 2,347 years.
Right, see, I love all that, but I'm not too sure about what you're talking about there, but I see Magistrate, I love it. I love it.
No, but it's when people go, they want to get rid of that queen. That says this is the 21st century, you know. You say, what's the date got to do with it?
No, I love everything to do with it. It's part of it.
It's a Scottish setup, and it raises your profile. You know, people go, is that your queen? Wow. You know, can you imagine just saying, you know, the money's huge. The money's huge. There was just before the year before lockdown, the royal family brought in £2 billion. Her Majesty the Queen paid 98 million quid in tax, bless her, straight to the exchequer.
Of course.
And she gives us 75% of her own income.
Yeah. People say this and that, and you know, born with a silver gold spoon.
Gold spoon. I would not thank you for it, Dee.
They work hard and they bring in the money. So people just are delusional. They just don't have a clue.
Could you imagine, Dee, if somebody says, Dee, you're the Queen tomorrow? And he said, right. Oh, I quite fancy that. Say, okay, you'll have to get up about 4:30, by the way, because we're going to Manchester.
Exactly.
You say, oh, for goodness sake. When are we getting back? You'll be back before 8 in the evening. You'll have missed Emmerdale.
I know. People talk about Buckingham Palace, or this big palace as well. It's freezing. I've never been in there.
I wouldn't thank you for it.
Absolutely freezing.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, you can't beat getting into your own house and getting the heater on.
Exactly.
And I love the way old folk go. Right, it's 8:30, Grandma. Yes, we'll get up and get settled and get curtains drawn.
Oh, definitely. That's the life.
They love that, don't they? I mean, it's very important. Have you ever had an older person tell you off for not opening the curtains properly? Things like that. They go, what, Dee, can you pull them properly? I mean, but wait, I'll get it myself. No, you're all right, Granny. I'd better as well doing it myself, and the mess you've made. Who's dropped all the crumbs here? What a mess.
Bless them. It's just the way they were brought up.
They were brought up, and do you not remember when we were wee, they had wee kind of cloths that covered everything? And
of course, it was really, do you know, I've got some as well.
Aye.
They're like wee knitted, but it's like, crocheted.
Crocheted.
Crocheted wee, there's a name for them. I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
What is, you know exactly what they're like, sort of naturally made doilies.
Doilies, that's
The doilies. Take a wee doily to put that there.
Over everywhere. I've got a big like drawer full of doilies, and they've came from like just
yes. They just kind of gather.
Oh, I know.
You just end up with doilies all the time. We're gonna have to say goodnight to our beautiful TikTokers. I can't believe it.
I've got a few doilies out myself for bags of flowers, or if you get something, to scratch your surface. So I keep a few doilies out.
A few doilies, but I don't know where they appear from, Dee, but you always end up with a drawer of them, and you kind of don't really use them nowadays.
I know. People should use them more, though. I've got loads of them. Do you want any?
I love that. And the other thing, you go, Dee, there's a slab of cake to your hen. Are you taking that through to the room? Right, you better take a plate.
Take a wee doily.
Take a plate, case you drop crumbs.
I know. Oh, they are on a good day, definitely.
Or you get a very generous kind of granny that you say, sorry, granny, what's wrong? No, nothing, I just dropped a wee crumb. Oh, that's fine, we'll get that. We'll get that. Don't you worry yourself. You think, well, I wasn't that worried.
It's just spotless and you're feared to move.
That's right. You don't want to say, oh, there's the sun out. Do you want to pull the curtains in case it goes on the table? So the first bit of sunshine we've had in 6 months, and she's telling me to pull the curtains in case it takes the oil out the furniture.
In case it fades.
Fades the table. And you say, how old's the table? When they get married, 1940.
Oh, I know.
And then the other thing which breaks my heart is when they say, Granny's stuff's away to the sale room, but they wouldn't take it.
Oh,
and you think, that stuff she polished every day and it's no worth anything.
I know. But do you know, a lot of this stuff, I'll not keep you long here.
You're never keeping me, my dear. This is a privilege.
A lot of the stuff is coming into fashion. Or the older.
The brown furniture, it'll come back.
G-plan and stuff like that.
Lovely.
That's so really. And then here, I've got old drawers with MOD at the back of them. And they are solid old drawers.
Now, I wonder, MOD, I wonder if that was...
I think it's Ministry of Defence.
It was army furniture, maybe. Because you see, they'd all these wee hussies, and if you think about it, what a great system. You're moving house, so they say, Captain McCLUE, you're moving now. And you say, we'll sort it. And the boys come in and move all the furniture and put it in the back of the 3-tonner and you're away.
Exactly, yeah. Well, these have got, I've got 2 sets and these have got locks on them.
Well, that's nice, Dee. That's good stuff. Keep that.
It's definitely, they're solid. Absolutely solid furniture. But this is what I'm saying, all the older stuff, people don't appreciate the older furniture. The stuff at IKEA, sorry, I should have said that word. Bleep.
Bleep. So we'll not go down that road anymore. All I'll say...
Anyway, older
stuff.
Definitely the best.
All I'll say about assemble yourself stuff is I'm always left with a few wee bits left over.
Oh.
And I look to see where it belongs. Maria Knight, hello again, Scottie. She is fantastic. I'm on Glasgow Saturday night if you fancy a coffee and a bite to eat with me and the missus, says Colelia. Isn't that beautiful? Who have we got here? One over the toilet roll. What's that? Oh, yes. Yes, one of the wee knitted toilet roll covers, Dee. So nobody sees the spare toilet roll.
The wee dolly.
Aye.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah, I remember them.
That's right. And I can remember my father got called out. He had a plumbing business and he got called out one time. This lady was very worried that she had a leak at her toilet. She said because the carpet was always wet round about the pan. And my father went over and then she said, did you find anything? He said, is it 2 boys you've got and your man? She said, yes. He says, well, tell them just to make sure the rain's okay. Aye. That was it.
Oh, I know the problem.
And she says to him, what do I owe you? And he goes, no charge, no. He was a lovely big
I know,
man.
I know.
My father, I'm sure, used to adjust bills for folk that he thought that old lady can't afford.
Oh, that's so nice.
You know, he would go out and do something, and then he would think the bill comes to, what do I owe you? And he would think, well, it's actually 89 quid. He would go, I think if we said £29, I know it's a lot. Oh, it is quite a lot, but I'll give you that.
That's generous. You don't see many of them.
No, he was just like, he was a lovely, lovely man, because he used to say you can only wear one suit. You know, and I think that was quite right. I mean, I remember somebody telling me, they said, Jimmy so-and-so's got a lovely house. There's 5 toilets in it. And he said, 5 toilets? He's only got one backside.
Oh, well.
You know, it's a sort of boast.
His
Five.
backside's ruined.
He's got 5 toilets away. Hey, you'll never get round them.
Brilliant.
I just love all that nonsense. People showing off, you know.
I know, definitely. You get
Telling you did this, that, and the next thing, you know. It's a bit like, do you remember that character in Tune the Fat, Big Jock? Big Jock's on the bell. Big Jock, he was always buying people drink at the golf club and that. What can I get you? Big Jock's on the bell. And he would show them his wallet and go, you'll no have that. I always remember somebody says, do you know that he's got £10 million more than you? He says, there's a big difference in your bank balances. You say, yes, but I think you'll find our graves will be about the same size.
Exactly. Do you know that is very, very true, isn't it? Very, very true. We're all the same. We're all the same. We'll all be on the same graves. That's it.
You see, I used to become unpopular with some of my wealthy friends in television. Yeah. You know, they would say, no, he's doing very well. He's made a lot of money. I say, I wonder if he would come doing the news agent with me. They said, what for? I said, well, we'll get the penny tray and he could buy it. Because I loved as a wee one standing there mesmerized looking at all the different shoes. And the poor wee lady, I'm sure she must have got fed up. She was going, what can I get you, son? He said, could I have the penny tray, please? And she would come out when you stand there. Could I get one of them? How much are them? Everything's a penny, son, everything. What about them? Are they the same? I'll take, could I get 2 of them? And she stood there with a queue of customers waiting to pay their paper bills.
Oh dear, so funny.
I loved all that nonsense. And you went back with your lemonade bottles and get your thruppens.
I know, I wish they'd bring that back.
They should bring it back. All the smashed glass and plastic and
that's it.
I mean, it was an absolute business, bottles. And the lemonade man, did you have the pop man used to come round?
Yeah, I was going to say a name there, but yeah, you still get that, by the way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Well, each one, I mean, we'll not say the names, but you had local names for the place. There were several in Glasgow and in the Borders and Greenock and Paisley and different lemonades, you know.
And they're so cheap, by the way. They're really, really cheap. I actually looked at my mum's fridge the other day and I seen a bottle and I went, oh my goodness, are they still going? She went, aye. She went, it comes spring, and I think every week. And I said, that's excellent, Mum. I said, well, the next time get me a few bottles of orange. Oh,
absolutely lovely. Orangeade, pineappleade, appleade, dandelion and burdock, cream soda, American cream soda.
Oh, aye, definitely. I like a wee, not a lot, it can be quite sickening, but I love if I'm really, really thirsty and it's really cold. Beautiful.
Do you mind? I was speaking at a dinner, right? And the guy says, and I wonder if we can put our hands together for our host tonight, Mr. Scottie McCLUE. And I went up and I got presented with one of these bags with a bottle in it.
Right.
You know, obviously I think it was a bottle of whiskey or something at the time, right? So I got that and they said, thank you very much, Scottie. We've all enjoyed it tonight. And I got handed this bag. And I went back to the table and I sat down and the guy that was organising it leans over and he goes, I hope you like cream soda.
Yes, I will. Oh, brilliant.
Just
Excellent.
lovely, lovely people. Anyway, my darling,
Yeah.
I'd better push
I
off.
know. Yeah, it was nice speaking to
It's
you.
always
Thanks for
a
all the
privilege.
nostalgia. It was lovely.
A privilege
Thanks.
talking to you, my love, and thank you
And
for
you.
everything you're doing for me.
No problem at all, Scottie.
Because
You
this
take care of
phone in,
yourself.
I know I say it again and again and again, but it will just explode.
Of course.
You know, I might have to start doing more
here.
subject-based stuff, but I'm not going to go discussing pandemics. I'm not going to go discussing any of that because that would ruin it.
It would, and it drags people down. I don't even watch the news. Do you know what I mean? And this is why we need a show like this for a laugh, a joke, a bit of nostalgia.
Just to see we can still laugh. And I mean, we're talking the Lemonade Man. Everyone knows what we're talking about.
I know.
They're all on here. Listen to this. You know, the difference between Bing Crosby and Walt Disney. Bing sings, but Walt Disney. Nice to see you, Scottie. Ah, bless him, that's nice. Dinky-Doo.
I'll leave you with this one last week, tiny joke thing. I'm finally, well, we're not at the end of winter yet, but at the end of the winter, I'll have lost my fat, but my spring rolls will be coming in.
I absolutely love it. I'll leave you with this one. I went to a game of bingo in Bears Den, and they don't shout house, they shout bungalow. Love you.
Oh, that's lovely. Right, you take care.
Night, God bless, Angel. Thank you so much.
Bye.
What a super lady. There's Dee, a real lady. Different generations now, just trying to scam you out of as much as possible. Absolutely, Calelio. We had a newsagent exactly the same. Cure kids outside. She ended up pre-backing them the sweets. They're not the wains. We were poor. We could only afford one bottle of orange cordial and black cordial. It had to last a family all week. Calelio, did you ever taste ginger cordial? Who had a soda stream? Yes, Professor Nuptyhead. I can go back to the sparklets when you went and you actually carbonated the water, irritated the water. Fantastic. It's wonderful stuff. Guys, we are out of time. I'm going to have to push off. What a superb show tonight. Outstanding. Thank you for all your input, for your lovely calls. There we are. Go mental, Scottie. Alex, upset them all. Absolutely. Never saw ginger cordial. Yep, I'm sure there was ginger cordial, Calelio. There was certainly ginger wine. You know, it was, no, you definitely had ginger cordial, yes. I'm pretty sure of it. And lime, as you say, the lime cordial. There we are. It was a wee bit sharp for me, but very, very nice. Guys, what can I say? This has just been outstanding tonight. A privilege being with you. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. If you can share and share and share the YouTube, that would be just brilliant. Just absolutely fantastic if you can do that. And tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 about Scottie McClue. 9 o'clock Monday through until Saturday. And some night, somebody who's got a huge following on social media will maybe just post a couple of videos. And people say, oh, I didn't know this was on, and come and join us for a chit chat. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you, Dee. Night, night, everybody. We tried making ginger beer, says Calelio. Yes, with root ginger. My father used to make it. No, it was ginger wine he made. And I'm sure it was root ginger he used. So there we are. Dinky-Doo. Yes, indeed, Blackie the Bull. So I believe. Good night. God bless Dinky-Doo. And as we say in the best of circles, ta-ra, lads.